Have you ever woken up to a story so shocking, so unbelievable, that you have to ask yourself, is this really happening in West Africa? Well, that was the drama that happened. On Sunday morning, West Africa jolted awake to news of a sudden coup in Benin Republic, followed by something even more explosive. Reports that Nigerian jets had crossed into Benin, dropping bombs in the heart of Cotonou. And now, the AES bloc of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is reacting. Diplomacy is shaking, borders are tightening, accusations are flying. So what really happened? Why did Nigeria get involved? Who gains and who loses from this dangerous new chapter in West African politics? Stay with me, because this story is deeper, darker, and far more consequential than anyone thinks. Welcome to Restore Nigeria News Podcast, your #1 channel for critical geopolitical analysis in Africa. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button so you never miss our weekly deep dives. And if you are a returning listener, welcome back. Early on Sunday morning, Benin Republic appeared to be in the grip of a military coup led by Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tigri. For a brief moment, national TV was seized. The coupists broadcast their message. Confusion swallowed the country. International media quickly reported that the coup had failed, that arrests were made, even that officers had been killed. But the reality was not that simple. Because at the same moment the coup was unfolding, something unexpected happened. According to multiple on-ground reports, French President Emmanuel Macron contacted President Bola Tinubu, urging him to act quickly and prevent the rebels from taking power. Eyewitnesses reported Nigerian surveillance aircraft circling over Cotonou. Shortly after, 6 loud explosions rocked parts of the capital. The targets? Reportedly, positions held by the coup leaders. There were also unconfirmed reports that ground troops from Nigeria moved in from the Badagry axis near Lagos toward Benin. Suddenly, what began as an internal Beninois coup crisis became a cross-border military event, with Nigeria taking decisive, some say controversial action. And despite rumors of arrests and deaths, Colonel Tigri later released an audio message urging the supporters of the coup to get out in the streets and protest against the French-backed president, Patrice Talon, and a lot of people did do that. This is where the political storm begins. Across social media, analysts, activists, and political commentators began raising questions. Why did Nigeria intervene so quickly? Was Tinubu acting independently or responding to pressure from France? And did Nigeria just set a dangerous precedent by attacking another African state? What is so surprising is to see that Nigeria's president is taking orders from the pathetic president of France, a man with approval rating of below 5% amongst his own population, a man whose egotistic incompetence has run his country aground, a man who can barely operate a functional government in his country, and the Nigerian president is doing his bidding, carrying out airstrikes and violating the sovereignty of another African nation. So what do you make of the actions of this Tinubu, the pathetic commander-in-chief of the Nigerian armed forces, whose military are finding it difficult to protect the Nigerian people from rampaging nomadic bandits, ISIS, and its affiliate Boko Haram? So much so that America and its egomaniacal president Donald Trump are dragging him around and threatening direct military intervention. So the Nigerian military that can't keep peace and stop rampant banditry and terrorism in their own country can go and attack a neighboring country, while the puppet Tinubu and the hypocritical supporters of his failed government will be shouting against the violation of Nigeria's sovereignty when America and Trump threaten to strike Nigeria. What kind of president is that? Many critics argue that Tinubu acted recklessly. Others claim the president may be too entangled in foreign influence, particularly from France and the United States. But let's look at it. Tinubu has very long-standing ties in the United States. Over there are verified records of his ties to cocaine trafficking networks in his earlier years in Chicago. So when such a character with proven links to narcotic trafficking emerge as a leader of a country, it is clear that we are dealing with a person who is an asset of the CIA, a person who can be blackmailed, controlled, and dictated to by foreign governments. All of this makes Nigeria's fight against terrorism even more difficult because these terrorists, like Fulani Militia and Boko Haram, are terrorist organizations that are closely linked to France and America. The Fulani Militia, who have been causing a lot of chaos in the AES states of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger over the past few years, are mostly supported, sponsored, and armed by France, in their attempt to regain control of these countries, their former colonies, who are now more aligned to Russia. As for Boko Haram, they and their ISIS masters are the creation of the American CIA. And what is their goal? Well, the goal is to try and take control of the resources of these African countries, in particular Nigeria, which is super oil-rich. All the US cries of fighting against Christian genocide is just a smokescreen, because the invading terrorists are killing both Nigerian Christians and Muslims indiscriminately, in very high rates. Actually, far more Muslims are being killed than Christians in Nigeria. Now, whether or not these claims are accurate, the perception alone has fueled outrage. And in politics, perception is sometimes more powerful than fact. Because West Africans have not forgotten that in 2023, Tinubu was strongly encouraged by Western partners to lead an ECOWAS invasion into Niger. He attempted it, but northern Nigerian leaders resisted, and the plan collapsed. Shortly after, Nigeria experienced a surge in terrorist attacks, a coincidence to some, but a clear message to Mr. Tinubu to behave next time. Well, next time has come, and sure enough, Puppet Tinubu got the message. This time, he quickly bends the knee and obeyed the order given to him. But for the AES alliance, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, Benin is an essential corridor to the Atlantic and vital shipping lanes. A successful coup, replacing a Western-aligned president with a more pro-AES leader, would have strengthened the bloc economically and politically. So when Nigeria helped crush the coup attempt, the AES states reacted sharply. A Nigerian Air Force C-130 transport plane later made an emergency landing in Burkina Faso. Authorities there detained the crew, claiming the plane entered their airspace without authorization. After tense negotiations, they were finally released. Meanwhile, Niger ordered strict checks on all goods coming from Nigeria, citing concerns that weapons could be smuggled into the country under the guise of trade. To many observers, these moves are early diplomatic warning shots, signals that the AES bloc views Nigeria's intervention in Benin as a threat to regional sovereignty. Here's the bigger picture. France and the United States have lost strategic ground in the Sahel. The AES states have expelled foreign troops, shut down Western military bases, and shifted towards Russia. Some analysts believe Western powers may now be leaning on Nigeria to play a more assertive role in the region, militarily and politically. The game plan for America and France is to blackmail and control the Nigerian president through the use of their Islamist terrorist assets and to turn Nigeria into the Israel of West Africa. So that, just as the way that America uses Israel to bomb all the countries of the Middle East to get them to submit to American control of the region, they want to now turn Nigeria into their military feast for bombing the countries of West Africa who dare to break free from their colonialistic domination. And if that is true, the bombing in Benin might only be the beginning. So, with Tinubu obviously falling in line, what should we be expecting going forward? France and America want to return to the Sahel. They want to regain control of the AES states of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, who have regained their sovereignty and are now more aligned to Russia. So, a new play will soon begin. Already, the so-called France and American military contractors and trainers are flooding into Nigeria, and American surveillance aircraft are flying all over the states of northern Nigeria, Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Kano, Katsina, Borno, Yobe, the states bordering the AES countries, in the name of locating terrorists. Which is funny, since the Nigerian government have clearly stated that they know who the terrorists are and where they are located inside Nigeria. So we may soon be seeing more surveillance flights over the AES region, more reports of terrorists crossing borders, and possibly clashes triggered by misidentification or provocation. Then we would be hearing of attacks on Niger, on Mali, and on Burkina Faso by terrorists coming from Nigeria, and the airstrikes by Nigerian military on the territories of these countries, supposedly targeting terrorists who are fleeing from Nigeria. This, of course, is deliberate provocations, and if this trend continues, West Africa could be pushed towards instability, which could lead to setting the region on fire, which is the real end goal of the imperialist France and America, to destabilize the region in order to control it. This is a bad development for African countries who are trying to break free from foreign control to assert their sovereignty. So, the big question is, did Tinubu just make a strategic decision to preserve regional stability, or did he walk Nigeria into becoming the new military enforcer for Western interests in West Africa? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, Benin was the spark. The AES reaction was the first ripple, and the rest of West Africa is now watching nervously. If you found this analysis open-eyeing, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your friends and groups. Your support helps us grow and helps more Nigerians stay informed. This is Restore Nigeria News Podcast. Stay safe, stay aware, and stay tuned.